Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and today we're going to be talking about homeschooling fears and how to combat those. If it's your very first time here, welcome to my channel. Make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe button. And down below, I have something really awesome for you guys now. We have a brand new homeschool group on Facebook. So if you hit the description box below, there will be a link to my brand new Facebook group where we're having all kinds of fun over there. So come and join us. All right, so let's talk about homeschool fears. And I'm talking about when you first start homeschooling or you're thinking about homeschooling, but you're just scared to make that leap. Or you might be just getting ready to take your kids out of take your kids out of public school and you got that knot in your stomach. I've never known a homeschool parent who did not go through this. I went through it. And I have a bachelor's degree in education. And I taught in a public setting. And I taught classrooms full of 30 kids that were not my children. And I still went through that. Is this the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? I don't know. I don't know if this is the right decision type of fear. And I almost didn't homeschool. And you know why I almost didn't homeschool? And you guys don't tell this to anybody if this is a secret. I almost didn't homeschool because I was scared to teach long division. I'm not kidding. Like I was terrified. I have really struggled with math when I was a kid. I might work in data and analytics for my adult life, but I cannot do long division. Here's what I learned though. Here's something that I learned. Just because you struggled with something in school does not mean that your kids will. And that really proved to be true because both of my children are math whizzes and my youngest one actually skipped a grade in math. So my fears were completely unfounded when it comes to that, but I almost cried because I was scared to teach fractions and long division to my fourth grader that very first year. So to make yourself feel better, there is my embarrassing I almost didn't homeschool my kids story. Okay, so now let's get into the things that I have for you so you know that you don't have to be afraid, that this is something that everybody can do. And I want to preface this with a couple things. First, most of the time people are scared to homeschool because it is almost like a foreign concept to people. Because our society, and I use this term loosely, is kind of brainwashed into just putting our kids into school. It's just like this normal thing that we do without really thinking like, oh, we have kids, they're 5 years old, off to kindergarten. Oh, you're 4 years old, time for preschool, let's go. And they get hauled off to the preschool and you're paying, $1,000 in tuition every month. It's just a normal part of our society where we don't realize that there's other options, and homeschooling is one of those other options. And homeschooling is becoming an option for a lot more people in this day and age, which is great. I am so glad it is because people are realizing that there's something better out there. So there's number one. Number two, having a degree in education and 7 years of experience in a classroom did not help me homeschool, okay? If anything, it was a hindrance to me because I pulled bad school habits, bad public school habits into my homeschool, and I almost had to like de-school myself. I had to deprogram myself out of teacher mode to teach my children because they were not going to learn that way. We were not going to have a good homeschool experience if I kept pushing my public school tactics on them. So it did not help me. Number three, and I want to explain this really, really well, and I have my book here. Okay. These books, okay, so this is one of my lesson plan books. These lesson plan books make it so easy for you where it does not for public school teachers. The lesson plans are written out for you already. All you have to do is just read what's on the paper. And a lot of times, like in Abeka, I kid you not, guys, they put in bold what you're even supposed to say to the child. Like, I don't even have to think of what to say to them. It's already in here. Like, I don't have to do anything. It's already written out. It's already done. It's already planned. I just they call it open and go. I open it up. I tell them their assignment. I very loosely teach a concept if it needs to be taught, but I'll tell you this. In these 6 years we've been homeschooling, I have never taught even one math lesson. Praise God. I have not had to teach one math lesson because I can't do it anyway, but I barely teach English. I mean, there's hardly anything for me to do here other than explain to them what their assignment is. And if they're struggling, then, you know, we'll help them. But they do this all on their own. Like, it's amazing. And when they get older, and as they get older, this becomes easier and easier to where they just kind of open the book and read it and do what they're supposed to do. So take the fear out of lesson planning, because there's nothing to fear when it comes to the lesson plan book, because it's already done for you. Okay. Another thing here, and I got three main sections. One, and this is the thing that helped me more than anything, because I had a lot of anxiety about homeschooling, because this was 6 years ago when it wasn't like cool to homeschool. I had to be prepared. I had to have all my paperwork in order, and I had to know exactly what the state wanted from me, okay? So there's three sections to this. One, know exactly what your state is going to require of you, and make sure that you have everything, that you know all the parts of that and what it entails. For most states, this isn't going to be a big load. I think there's only a couple of states that require, you know, more than a couple of things, but most states, it's relatively easy to homeschool. It's harder to open a business out of your house than it is to homeschool your kids. So that isn't anything that I want you to be afraid of. That's super simple. Next, have all of your documents together in a folder and have it somewhere where you can easily access it. So for me, that was attendance records, shot records, exemption paperwork, anything like that. Put it all in a file and have it ready to go if for some reason anything ever came into question, which has never ever happened even one time. But I'm going to say that just in case, you know, somebody says, but, you know, this could happen. Have it ready to go in a folder just in case. Now, again, nothing has ever happened. I have never had a knock on my door, but you know, just in case, it's there and it's right where I need it. And number 3, get an HSLDA membership, because they are always in your corner, and all you have to do is pick up the phone and they will have somebody talk to you about any legal issues for your state, and they are worth their weight in gold. Okay, section number 2. Find your tribe. Okay, so my group is available if you want. If you don't have a tribe, if you don't know anybody who homeschools, right down below, I have a tribe waiting for you. There is a Facebook link down below, and you guys can come and join us and hang out with us. We would love to have you. Or find a friend who is also homeschooling and latch onto them. That is surely what I did. I had one friend who homeschooled, and she made my life so much easier. And what actually happened was I was talking to her one day about how busy I was. I had 2 kids who were going to 2 different schools, and I was running a business out of my house, and I was going back and forth between 2 schools, the soccer field, and my husband's work. And it was just like, it was like a 3-ring circus all day long. I was in the car more than I was at home. I think I made 6 to 8 trips every single day, depending on what day of the week it was. It was madness. And by the time I was at home, I wasn't at home for very long before I had to get back in the car for something. And here's the thing, when you run a business or when you work at home, you don't get a whole lot of work done when you're driving all over the place. So for me, it was like taking a deep breath when we finally got to homeschool. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to run around everywhere. So for the first full year of homeschooling, we did not do any extracurriculars. We stayed at home, no sports, no music lessons, no co-ops, nothing. We did field trips, but we just needed a breather, and that first year was beautiful, and it was just so good for my mental state. So understand, if you work at home, it takes a lot of stress out, and because you only homeschool for about half the time that public school kids do, they're done usually before or around lunchtime. So you have like the whole afternoon to do whatever it is you need to do. It's great. Okay, next, try before you buy. You can try homeschooling before you really make that commitment. I did it. I tried homeschooling out for about 6 weeks before we made the full commitment, and it was one of the things that boosted my confidence the most. Before I fully took my kids' transcripts out of the school, I did a 6-week trial at home, and I said, okay, we're gonna try this out. I bought the curriculum. I bought the My Father's World curriculum. I did not tell my kids it was a trial. I did not tell them that, because that would have ruined the whole thing, and then they would have misbehaved, and they wouldn't have taken it seriously. I didn't tell them it was a trial. We pretended like it was the real deal, okay? We sat down, we made a schedule, and we stuck to it just like it was regular school. And by the time the first day of school rolled around, we were starting our 7th week of school, and we waved goodbye to the yellow bus, and I was very confident about waving goodbye to the bus at that point. So it's a huge confidence builder. It gets your kids used to the idea of schooling, and it really helps you mentally come to terms with homeschooling. And it's kind of like that transitional period for you. And the last thing I want to hit on is, even if you're still afraid, which you probably will be, I challenge you to do it afraid. Do it afraid. I am so serious about it. I'm gonna say something that a lot of people are probably gonna disagree with, and that's okay. But your worst day homeschooling is better than the best day at public school for your child. And you want to know why? Because that is your child. You gave birth to them. You have been with them since infancy. You cared for them. You love them. You have raised them. And nobody understands that child more than you. You are their friend. You are their advocate. And you are their parent. And nobody is going to be able to teach them a concept better than you. And I am saying that as a former teacher. As a teacher, I could not teach children the way that their parents could. Parents and children hold a bond that a teacher and a child never will be able to. Sometimes you might get a teacher that you like or that your kids like, and a lot of times you may not. Do you think that they're going to learn nearly as well from a teacher that they don't like as they would from somebody like you? And you have, you have the answers right here. So there's nothing to be afraid of. You can teach them better than anybody else, and you are their advocate, and you are their parent, and you are the one that they love more than their teachers. So you can absolutely do this. You can 100% do this, and I challenge you to do this afraid. Even if you're afraid, it's okay. You can still do hard things even when you're afraid. Okay, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you are still looking for your tribe, my group is down below. We would love to have you, and we would love to be your homeschool advocate and your tribe and your friend. So I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Happy homeschooling.